Desmond's father was an alcoholic. Drunk most nights, he would often beat his wife. One evening, in a drunken rage, he pointed a gun at her. Terrified, Desmond rushed forward, wrestled the weapon out of his father's hands, and in a fit of anger almost pulled the trigger himself. But at that very moment, his mother's words came back to him. Taking a life is the greatest sin. He froze, and right there he made a vow that he would never touch a gun, and he would never harm another soul. That promise became the foundation of his life, but the world had other plans. Soon after World War II broke out, and the government began drafting young men into the army, and Desmond had no choice but to join. When he arrived at the training camp, the atmosphere was bizarre. Some recruits were exercising naked while others were playing dangerous games by throwing knives at each other. Despite the chaos, everyone welcomed him warmly. Then came the sergeant, who with a commanding voice reminded them that war is no joke, and they would be pushed to their limits. Training began, and Desmond quickly proved himself. He ran faster than anyone else, and was physically stronger than most. But when the time came to handle a rifle, he refused. "I will not kill," he said firmly. The other soldiers burst into laughter, wondering what good was a soldier without a weapon. The sergeant reported his behavior to the captain, who scoffed that this is war and men die here, and if you're not willing to fight, you don't belong here. But Desmond stood his ground. His refusal made him the target of ridicule as his fellow soldiers mocked him, bullied him, and tried to break his resolve. One night, as Desmond quietly read his Bible, a soldier snatched away the photograph of his fiancée and slapped him across the face, saying, "If you want it back, hit me." But Desmond didn't retaliate. He stayed silent and calm, bored of provoking him. The soldier eventually tossed the photo aside and went to bed. That night, while the others slept, Desmond was ordered to clean the camp all night long. The sergeant was trying to push him to his breaking point, hoping he would give up and quit the army. But Desmond refused to complain and endured everything in silence. Frustrated, the sergeant finally gave a secret order, and one night the recruits ambushed Desmond and beat him mercilessly. He was left bruised and bleeding. Yet the next morning, when the sergeant noticed his injuries and asked what had happened, Desmond simply answered, "It's nothing." Slowly, the other soldiers began to see something different in him. His stubborn vow wasn't just foolishness, it was unshakable determination. Training eventually came to an end, and the men were granted a short leave. But when Desmond's turn came, the general laid down an ultimatum: "You will only get leave if you pick up a rifle." Desmond refused once again, and for disobeying direct orders, he was thrown into jail. And this time he felt anger for the first time, because that very day he was supposed to marry Dorothy. She was waiting for him at the church, unaware that her groom sat behind bars.